All right, well, it is a growing threat that is very horrifying and dangerously easy to miss. The FBI is issuing an urgent warning about a violent online network known as 764. Erica Erickson had the chance to sit down with someone who knows this threat very, very well. Let's listen to this story, and we're going to talk to Erica live right after this story.
This is a network we learned more about just in the last couple of months, and I had no idea just how dark and expansive it really is. What the FBI reveals during this interview is both chilling and urgent. For their safety, the person we spoke with is being disguised, but what they're sharing should be a wake-up call to anyone who spends time online.
These cases are dark. They exist in dark spaces.
But they're not just on the dark web.
This is on the very real internet that you have in your home.
They use threats, blackmail, and manipulation, targeting vulnerable people and children online. Where does the FBI see these groups active?
Anywhere that basically has a communication function.
The perps hanging out on social media and gaming platforms, often pretending to be the same age.
These threat actors will basically infiltrate these spaces and pretend to befriend their children victims.
Then the FBI says those in or wanting to belong to the extreme 764 group or those like it will then coerce or extort their victims. Essentially targeting the most vulnerable and then almost sextortion.
Correct. These perpetrators will then extort these kids by saying, I will send this to your family, to your friends, unless you provide me with more content.
The footage then shared to members of the network to continue to extort, often underage victims, to gain even more control. Working to expose the violent group becoming more prevalent since 2022, the FBI says it's now a global issue.
Members of these violent networks coercing victims into committing crimes such as swatting, doxing, vandalism, acts of self-harm.
While it varies, the FBI says trends show perpetrators are often males under the age of 25 and victims mostly underage girls. The violence offline also very real.
Real-world violence includes stabbings, shootings, suicides, and sometimes murder.
The case of 18-year-old Julian Zara of Macomb County making headlines last month, allegedly involved in the network since he was just 14. Accused of having more than a dozen Discord accounts to distribute child pornography and animal crushing videos.
Animal crushing is basically defined as intentional harm, impaling, burning, or torture of a live animal.
And 47-year-old Richard Dinsmore of Manistee County, known in the group as Rabid, sentenced last year to 30 years for sexually exploiting a child, creating online sewer communities, even accused of mailing razor blades to members to cut themselves, and of saying, quote, I have all your information. I own you. You do what I say now, kitten. What's the goal of this network here?
It can be a personalized grievance, it can be a collective grievance, but the goal ultimately for a lot of these groups is prominence within the network or clout.
And desensitization. Members often gore bombing, sending disturbing videos or images to as many people as possible at once.
It's a very content-driven threat activity that we're talking about.
And with our lives now online, the FBI adding additional resources to take down the network, hoping parents can do their part.
Parents should first and foremost be very aware of their child's online activities. At the end of the day, keeping your kids safe is what's the most important part of this whole thing.
All right, so Erica Erickson joins us now to break this down more. You just hear these details and it just breaks your heart that this is going on. We've done stories in the past where you knew, like, oh, you could be on a video gaming thing and they may, you know, attack you mentally in terms of that, but this is a whole nother level.
This is a whole other level, Karen. And I originally, we did that story with Julian Zara, who was 18, still young.
Yeah.
And allegedly, according to prosecutors, had been part of this network since he was just 14. And I guess their theory is possibly, the judge had said, it sounds like maybe he was brought into this network, possibly a victim, but then later became a moderator of this network and was pulling more people into this network and sharing these animal crushing videos and child sexually abusive material and things like that. But the thing that really kind of got me. I had never heard of this.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm naive, maybe. I don't, probably. But I wanted to learn more about it and ways that we can kind of help the FBI and help parents. So there are some ways. I mean, it's hard. The FBI says, please talk to your kids. Maybe don't get into specifics, but I mean, Karen, you know, it's probably
Right.
hard to talk to kids.
Well, yeah, it is.
They don't
And
like
sometimes-
parental controls.
Right.
If there are parental controls, use them on some of these apps and some of these devices, especially, you know, if they're young, as you know.
Right.
But talk to them. Let them know that these people exist out there. Don't tell them, don't send personal information.
Right.
Where you go to school.
That I get that question all the time. Is it okay if I say that? It's like, no, you don't.
I know it
you
sounds
don't use
so
your
innocent,
name, you
right?
Don't use your school because it's really easy to track you down.
It really is. And they talk about this doxing and swatting and things like that. Those are a real thing. And for those who don't know what that is, and we have all these new terms all the time, it's basically putting your address out and saying there's a crime being committed at this address, and then people show up and it's not true, essentially. There's other things people can do, parents, guardians, things like that. You can tell these kids, when you're posting things, you're posting your photo. These photos can then be manipulated.
Correct.
It's just your face with your friends.
Right. And then, unfortunately, what do they add to that photo?
What do
which
they
can
add?
Really ruin your life in 1 second.
They're innocent, but these people on this network, according to the FBI, can then Photoshop,
Right.
change that photo into certain ways, and then share that photo. And I don't even want to get into the gruesome details, but then there's also real life violence that they were talking
Well, and that's
about,
what's
too.
interesting too, because many times we do these stories and we talk about how that the child is the victim, which they always are in this case, but then they're turned into a moderator in terms of facilitating crime outside of
It's
the internet, which is the vandalism and the animal abuse, and that's going
and that's
to
why
another
it
level.
really is just know who your kids are talking to online and just be involved in their lives. And this kid that Macomb County kid,
Yeah.
that's 4 years. He was, I don't know if his parents knew what was going on. I saw his mom outside of court and she looked shocked. But I don't know. I don't know what was going on with that particular case. But these kids, they want to have this sense of belonging, according to the FBI. And I think these moderators, they have it obviously they're pulling people in for these other reasons. But some of these kids, no, they think they kind of push them and push them and push them. Little
Well,
by
it's
little
like that
by
one
little.
quote that you put, like, I own you, once they've shared enough information, and really enough can be one photo, it could be one sentence.
Photo and they feel like they're trapped, they're back into a corner, and then they keep going.
And this is local. I think that's important to stress, because sometimes
is
when we
local.
do these stories, we say, this
And
is
that-
a trend, but no, this is happening
this
in
is
Metro
global,
Detroit.
but this is happening here.
Yeah.
This is happening here. This could be happening right
It
now
could be
to someone
happening
we
in your
know.
house,
And I just hope
unfortunately.
that parents
Yeah.
can just pay attention.
Okay.
All of
Thank you.
us.
We appreciate it. We do.
Thanks, Karen.
All right. We'll have more on your story, too, on clickondetroit.com. We'll post that.